Hello guys and welcome back to our countdown to Christmas. Today is the 16th of December and we've got another video for you. Of course, we're doing daily videos right up to the 24th of December. Now yesterday we did 2 Annihilation Barges going up against the Tesseract Ark, so if you've missed that one, check out the playlist or the video in the top right of your screen now. As for today's video, well, we've got a Triarch Praetorian unit going up against the Canoptek Acanthrites. Now 2 fast attack units with the core keyword, although the Praetorians are infantry and the Canoptek Acanthrites are beasts. Now I did want to compare some of these units to the Canoptek Wraiths, but we have already done the Canoptek Wraiths and I want to try to get as many units into this series as I possibly can. So 2 units that can shoot as well as fight, that are both in the fast attack slots. Yeah, we're going to compare those today, go through the advantages, disadvantages and which one I would select. I'm going to pick at the end of the video basically. Also guys, don't forget we still got our giveaway ongoing until Christmas Eve. So you've got to subscribe to the channel, like the video and just say in the comments down below which of these 2 units you would prefer. And when you do, you'll be entered for our giveaway for a chance to win this Combat Patrol box set. Right, enough of the intro, let's get on with the points cost. So the Praetorians, you can get units of between 5 and 10 models. They're 22 points each, so which means a minimum unit is 110 points and a maximum unit is 220 points. Now when you compare that to the Canoptek Acanthrites, you can only get units of between 3 and 6 models, but they are 40 points each. That's a minimum unit of 120 and a max unit of 240. So the minimum unit cost and the maximum unit costs in comparison to one another aren't actually that far apart. I believe there's 10 points different if you go for the min units and 20 points if you go for the max units. So yeah, very close in terms of points when you look at it in that way. So let's get on with comparing the stats to begin. So you'll see the stats now at the bottom of the screen. The Triarch Praetorians have got 3 stats in particular that are better than the Canoptek Acanthrites. First of all, the weapon skill and ballistic skill is a 3+ and not a 4+, and they're both going to be useful here because they fight as well as shoot. And the attacks is also 3 as opposed to 2 attacks for those Canoptek Acanthrites. However, those Canoptek Acanthrites are much quicker, well not much quicker, they're just a little bit quicker, 12 inches as opposed to 10. They've got 3 wounds as opposed to 2, but if I was to select one of these datasheets just as a standalone datasheet, I think I'd be selecting the Triarch Praetorians datasheet, hitting on 3s with 3 attacks. I think it's just going to serve us much better for what these guys are supposed to do. So that one is going to be going to the Triarch Praetorians. Onto the unique abilities next. There's only actually one to talk about here, which is for the Canoptek Acanthrites, and it's the Shadowed Wings. Very simple, it's a -1 to hit them at range because they're too quick. That's the only ability out of the 2 datasheets going, so yeah, an easy point to the Acanthrites I guess. Now onto the unique synergy. And at first glance you probably won't think this is unique, but I'll tell you why it is in a moment. So first of all, the Catacomb Command Barge. With the My Will Be Done ability as well as the Relentless March ability, the Command Barge is going to be able to keep up with the Acanthrites and give them those 2 abilities because they are core. Now Triarch Praetorians are of course core, but they are dynastic agents, and you require the dynasty code for the My Will Be Done ability from your Catacomb Command Barge and even your Overlord models. There are ways of still giving them the My Will Be Done ability, we'll go over that in a moment, but sticking with the Canoptek Acanthrites, so we can talk about other things that relate to the Dynasty keyword, such as the Technomancer with the Canoptek Control Node, or maybe the Canoptek Cloak, and as well as the failsafe Overcharge or Arcana to give them an additional attack. That's only going to work with the Dynasty keyword. Now with the Technomancer, in fact, with the Rites of Reanimation ability to bring back one of these models, that needs the Dynasty word as well. However, there is an Arcana, which is the Phylacterine Hive, which allows you to do this on Triarch Praetorians. Now it does cost you 15 points for that Arcana, and Triarch Praetorians are 22 points, so you're only really saving 7 points and you're wasting up your Arcana slot. So I kind of don't think it's worth it, but if you wanted to use it, yeah, there it is. Now other things that relate to the Acanthrites that require the Dynasty keyword, such as a Chronomancer with a Chronometron ability, giving them a 5+ invulnerable save, as well as a rerollable charge roll. I think that's really good for these guys, they definitely need those. And other things such as the Veil of Darkness relic, that of course needs the Dynasty keyword too. More unique items available to the Canoptek Acanthrites, where you've got stratagems available here. One is the Enslaved Protector stratagem for 1 command point, so that they can heroically intervene if they were characters, or just any Dynasty stratagem that you're taking with your Dynasty code. If you've got the Novik Dynasty, you could use Blood Rites for an additional attack. Again, because they've got the Dynasty keyword, they've got access to the Dynasty stratagems. Then one final bit of synergy is the Army of Renown Cult of the Cryptek, because they've got the Canoptek keyword, so they can go into this and be selected as part of Cult of the Cryptek. Right, so that's the Acanthrites. What about the Praetorians? Well, first of all, Judgment of the Triarch, which is 1 command point, it's a stratagem, and it gives them a +1 to their hit roll. So it's a little bit like My Will Be Done, but you will need to use this in both the phases if you want to use it in the fight phase as well as the shooting phase. But that is one way of giving them the +1 to the hit roll. Another way to give them a +1 to hit would be from the My Will Be Done ability, but this time it has to come from the dynastic agent such as the Silent King, Maybe it's Amrakir the Traveller, Trazyn the Infinite. Those kind of units that are already Dynastic Agents don't require you to have the Dynasty code or the Dynasty keyword with their My Will Be Done ability. So you can still put My Will Be Done on these guys, but it has to come from certain sources. And finally, we mentioned this a minute ago, the Technomancers using the Rites of Reanimation ability with the Phylact Druid Hive. So that one I think is an easy win for the Acanthrites. They've got so much more synergy going with the Canoptek keyword, with the Dynasty keyword. The Triarch Praetorians are very limited. Right, let's get on to the weapons next, starting off with the Triarch Praetorians. They've got 2 weapon loadouts to pick from pre-game. The first one is the Void Blade and the Particle Caster, and the second option is the Rod of Covenant, which is a shooting and melee weapon. Let's go through those. So first of all, the Particle Casters, which is 12-inch range, pistol 2, strength 6, no AP, 1 damage. And that comes with the Void Blade, which is a melee weapon, which is strength user, so that makes it strength 5, minus 3 AP and 1 damage, but you get an additional attack with this weapon. That means you've got 4 attacks base. That's option number 1. Option number 2 is the Rod of Covenants. So the shooting attack is 12-inch range, assault 1, strength 5, minus 3 AP and damage 2. And the melee side of the weapon is strength 5, minus 3 AP and damage 2 again. So the caster and the Void Blade option are just better against light infantry, going up against either toughness 3, toughness 4 perhaps as well. And ones that have got a low armor save, because the Particle Caster in particular has got no AP on it, but also the damage is only 1, so they need to have 1 wound with their data sheets. Whereas with the Rod of Covenants, they've got minus 3 AP and 2 damage, so really good against power armor in particular. So going up against Space Marines, yeah, they're going to really hate these things. As for the Canoptek Acanthrites, well, they've got 2 weapons, but you have to have these weapons. There's no options, no flexibility here. First of all, they've got the Cutting Beam, which is 12-inch range, assault 1. This is strength 8, minus 4 AP, and the damage is D6. If you fire within half range, it's D6 plus 2. So it's effectively a melter weapon on our Canoptek guys there. Unfortunately, we are hitting on 4s, don't forget. But if you've got a unit of 6 of them, that's going to be 6 shots, which are strength 8. Yeah, that's going to do a ton of work. Now, as for the melee side of things, they've also got the Void Blades. So we did just mention these in the Praetorians profile. They are strength user, so strength 5, minus 3 AP and 1 damage with an additional attack. So they're going to have 3 attacks there as opposed to 2. The Void Blades are okay, but minus 3 AP paired with only 1 damage doesn't quite cut it for me. If you're going up against power armor, for example, but going up against those kind of models, yeah, you're going through the armor save, getting them to a 6 plus armor save at worst, but it's only 1 damage, so you're only doing 1 damage going up against a 2 wounded model. Just not enough for me. And overall, I think they're better shooters than they are at fighting, because those cutting beams, yeah, having 6 melters could be really crucial. So in terms of what is the best melee unit, I'm definitely going to go with the Praetorians in this case. But the best shooting unit, you've got to go with the Canoptek Acanthrites, haven't you? Right, now onto the in-game purpose of both these units, starting off with the Triarch Praetorians. They're fast, as you'd expect, they're a fast attack option. I consider them a jack of all trade but master of none kind of unit. They've got a reasonable damage output in both the shooting phase and the fight phase. But I'd argue, why would you take them over, say, Canoptek Wraiths that are also in the fast attack slots? I mean, they work well with the Silent King, but who doesn't? As for the Canoptek Acanthrites, well, they could work well with the Veil of Darkness relic perhaps, because you're getting within 9 inches away from enemy models, and your cutting beams are 12-inch range, so therefore you can be literally popping in, taking out a vehicle, taking out a monster, just like that. And they can even protect themselves with the Void Blades on top of that. Neither of them are going to be there to score you points and objectives, they're there to literally fight, will be the first line of an attack. Right, let's get on to the summary of today's video, starting off with the Triarch Praetorians with the advantages. First of all, they're cheaper, only 22 points a model, not 40. Second of all, larger maximum unit size of 10, so that's going to work nicer with resurrection protocols, for example. They're an infantry unit, so they're going to work much better with the secondary objectives. You've got raise the banners, for example, R&D, all those kind of actions that require you to be an infantry model, whereas beasts cannot do those kind of things. Next, they're hitting on a 3+, which can easily be buffed to a 2+ with the right characters. They've got more attacks in general, and finally they've got a weapon option. Now you do have to get this pre-game, but if you do know who you're going up against, then roughly you can kind of work out which weapons you should be taking. As for the disadvantages, well, they're dynastic agents, of course, so they're not going to gain any dynasty code. They've got less wounds. They're slightly slower at 10 inches, not 12 inches. They've got less overall synergy with the game because of the dynastic agents keyword, in fact. And finally, they've just got a questionable in-game purpose for me. That's just my personal opinion. I don't think you need to use them. There's always a better unit within our codex that you can take as opposed to taking the Praetorians. Right, onto the Canoptek Acanthrites. Advantages, well, they're quicker at 12-inch movement, they've got more wounds, they've got a dynastic code because of the dynastic keyword, they've got the Cult of the Cryptek as an option for the Army of Renown. Overall, they've just got better synergy because of that Canoptek keyword and the dynastic keyword. They've got the Strength 8 cutting beams, which I think are really good. That gives them a purpose, in fact. And finally, it's a -1 to hit them at range with their shadowed wings. Disadvantages, well, they are beasts, so we said this already in the advantages for the Praetorians, but they've got less secondary options available to them in terms of actions and things like that, but they are Canoptek, so they can still do ancient machineries and things like that. They've got less attacks, they're so in melee. I don't really rate the Void Blades that much, but they can do something, don't get me wrong. They can't fire those cutting beams into combat, so if they are in the combat, if they are in a fight, yeah, you're not using your Strength 8 melter weapons. They're only hitting on a 4+ because they're Canoptek. And finally, ideally you need to use a Veil of Darkness Relic with these guys, which means you're not going to be using it on a different unit within your army list. So that's the advantages and disadvantages all summed up. We're now on to the point where we've got to make a decision on one of these two units. This one can be quite tricky because neither of them are units that I preferably take that often. But in the past, say 10 games or so, I have actually fielded Canoptek Acanthrites, and I don't think I've taken Praetorians for a while now. They're just not up in the priorities list for me. The in-game use, they just don't have it. You've got Canoptek Wraiths, you've got Canoptek Scarabs that are obviously in the same slots, Ophidian Destroyers. You know me already, guys, I like my resiliency, so without the invuln saves, and you can't really get it on them because of no Chronomancer invuln save, I'm going to have to select the Canoptek Acanthrites today. So guys, let me know your thoughts down below to be within the chance of getting this Combat Patrol box set for the giveaway. Other than that, all I have to say is thank you all for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.